Hi everyone and welcome to this tutorial on how to make maxi dress using the Gabriella pattern. This dress is designed to showcasing your curves in a flattering way. It features a stylish open back, long sleeves that create a beautiful bell shape and a charming tie at the back. If you love this dress and want to make your own, you can buy this pattern from my shop on Etsy and I will leave a link in the description below. To make this dress, you will need around 2 to 3 meters of stretch fabric, depending on the size chose and the width of the fabric. Also, you will need a matching thread and fusible interlining tape. The first step in making this dress is to cut out the pattern pieces from the main fabric. The pieces you need to cut out include the front panel, back panel, sleeves, straps, and neckband. At this stage, you have the option to add or subtract additional centimeters to the length of the dress. Additionally, you can easily make the open back bigger if you prefer. Once you cut out the pattern pieces, lay your fabric pieces flat with the wrong side facing up. Before placing the interfacing tape, ensure that the front and back panels of your garment align with the pattern correctly. It's important not to stretch the fabric while fusing the interfacing. Instead, adjust the tape to fit the panel accurately. Place the fusible side of the interfacing onto the wrong side of the fabric, aligning it with the neckline and open back areas. Ensure that the edges of the interfacing and fabric match up. To fuse the interfacing, use a hot iron with no steam. Apply firm and even pressure, moving the iron gently back and forth until the interfacing firmly attaches to the fabric. Allow it to cool before checking for proper adhesion. Once the interfacing is securely fused, you can trim any excess interfacing that extends beyond the fabric edges. The next step is to place the front panel and back panel right sides together, aligning the side edges, arm edges, and matching up the notches. Pin them in place securely. After pinning the panels together, the next step is to sew them together using 0.7 cm seam allowance and finish the edges. Here are some options for sewing and finishing the seam. Option 1, if you have access to a 4-thread overlock, sew the panels together with a twin needle. This one is the most recommended. Option 2, if you have access to 3-thread overlock, use lightning stitch, triple thread stitch or narrow zigzag stitch to sew the seam and finish the edges with the overlock or zigzag stitch. Option 3, if you don't have access to an overlock, use a lightning stitch, triple thread stitch or narrow zigzag stitch to sew the seam and finish the edges with a free zigzag stitch over the raw edge. Choose the option that works best for you and your equipment. Remember to test the stitch on a scrap piece of fabric before sewing on the actual dress panels to ensure that the tension and stitch length are set correctly for your particular fabric and machine. For my dress, I chose option 1, which is 4-thread overlock.
You say you want me, you better want me now. You got me all up in my head. You wanna love me, but you should love me now, 'cause I'll be running out of here.
After you have sewn the side seams together and finished the edges, press the side and arm seam allowances towards the back. Then, take one sleeve piece and fold it in half lengthways, ensuring that the right sides are facing each other. Align the raw edges of the folded sleeve together. Pin along the folded edge to secure the fabric in place. Repeat the same process for the other sleeve. Sew the edges together using a seam allowance of 0.7 cm. If available, use a 4-thread overlock stitch. If not, use a stretch stitch or a narrow zigzag stitch and finish the edges with a 3-thread overlock or zigzag stitch. Sew along the pinned edge all the way down the seam. Repeat the same process for the other sleeve. Then, press the seam allowance towards the back of the sleeve.
Maybe it's just something you do.
Turn the main garment inside out. Locate the armhole where you will attach the sleeve. To distinguish between the right and left sleeves, check the control notches, 1 notch for the front and 2 notches for the back. Once identified, slide the sewn sleeve into the armhole of the dress. Ensure that the outer arm seam of the sleeve aligns with the side seam of the dress and the arm seam matches with the sleeve head notch. Keep the right sides of the fabric facing each other. Align the corresponding notches on the sleeve and armhole and securely pin them together. Repeat the same process for the other sleeve.
Let go of everything I want for you. It's true. Please don't judge me. I can't stay another day, another day. Please don't love me. I can't give you anything, anything.
Sew the edges together using a seam allowance of 0.7 cm. If possible, use a 4-thread overlock stitch. Alternatively, use a straight stitch or a narrow zigzag stitch and finish the edges with a 3-thread overlock or zigzag stitch. Begin sewing from the underarm point and continue stitching all the way around the armhole. Repeat the process for the other sleeve. Press the seam allowance towards the sleeve. Fold the straps in half-length ways with right sides together, align the long edges and press it. Using a stretch stitch, sew along the long edge of each fabric strap, leaving the ends open. Sew approximately 55 mm from the edge to ensure a secure and flexible seam. This will create a tube-like shape for the tie-ups. Once the straps are sewn, press them to flatten the stitches and avoid any waves or puckering. Carefully turn each fabric tube right sides out using a turning tool or safety pin. Push the fabric through the tube until it's completely turned. Press the tie flat, ensuring that the seam is centered along one side. Locate the placement marks for the straps on the back of the dress. These marks are approximately 5 cm away from the arm seam. Place the fabric straps on the strap notches of the dress with the right side facing. Pin the ends of the fabric tube in place. Sew the pinned ends of each strap onto the dress, either by hand or using a sewing machine. Fold the raw edges of the open ends of the tube in wire by approximately 0.5 cm and press. Hand stitch the open ends for a clean, hidden seam. Press the tube again. Fold the neckband in half lengthways with the wrong sides together. Press the fold to create a crease along the entire length. Unfold the pressed neckband. With right sides together, fold the neckband seams in half and sew with stretch stitch or overlock using approximately a 0.7 cm seam allowance. If using a serger, trim the seam in the middle before pressing, allowing one half of the seam allowance to go to the right and the other half to the left for a lateral seam. If using a stretch stitch, press the seam flat. Fold the neckband in half to find the front center point. The center back of the neckband aligns with the seam line, while the center front is on the opposite side. Locate the center of the back and front of the dress and mark them. Align the seam line of the neckband with the center back of the dress, ensuring that the right sides of the fabrics are facing each other. Also, match the front mark of the neckband with the marked center front of the dress, still keeping the right sides together and aligning the raw edges. Gently stretch the neckband between the two pin points, ensuring it is stretched smoothly and without any puckering. Pin the rest of the neckline to neckband. With the neckband pinned in place on the dress, begin sewing from the center back. If possible, use a 4-thread overlock stitch. Alternatively, use a stretch stitch or a narrow zigzag stitch and finish the edges with a 3-thread overlock or zigzag stitch. Sew along the entire length of the neckband, carefully following the pinned edge. Use a 0.5 cm seam allowance. Press the seam allowance towards the dress. Top stitch around the neckline using a stretch stitch or narrow zigzag stitch. Sew on the right side of the garment, keeping your stitches approximately 3 mm away from the edge. This distance will help secure the seam allowance while giving the neckline a tidy and professional finish. After completing the top stitching, give the neckline a final press. Finish the hem of the sleeves and the bottom of the dress by using an overlock stitch. If you don't have access to an overlock machine, you can use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine instead. If you have access to a coverlock machine, use the coverlock stitch to finish the hem of the sleeves and the dress. After sewing the hem, give it a press. After finishing the edges with an overlock stitch, fold the edge of the sleeves and the bottom hem up by 1 cm towards the wrong side of the garment. If desired, you can use pins to hold the folded hem in place and ensure it stays secure during sewing. From the wrong side of the sleeves and bottom hem, sew approximately 0.7 cm from the edge to secure the hem. Use a stretch stitch or a narrow zigzag stitch, sewing along the folded edge. Start at one side seam and continue sewing all the way around. After sewing, give the hem a final press to ensure it lies flat and neat. Congratulations on creating your very own stunning garment. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more sewing tutorials. Happy sewing and see you next time.